And we are live. Welcome to Cash Flow First, where we talk about how you can create cash flow for yourself, regardless of anything else you're doing, because you'll end up getting paid for something you already naturally do. So, I have on with me Jeff Saxby, my friend and founder of LynnPro Connect. And please introduce yourself, Jeff.
Hi, my name is Jeff Saxby. As Terza said, I own a company called LynnPro in Iowa. And what we do is we produce T-shirts, custom apparel, embroidery, promotional products, anything with the logo on for businesses, events, organizations, schools, etc. And now we have advanced that into an affiliate program that Terza is talking about, LynnPro Connect. So that's who we are. Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and give everybody a quick introduction about what it is we're doing. So, give me a moment. So, I'm going to keep this super simple because that's the whole point. You actually don't have to be in business. You don't need funnels. You don't need to get fancy with AI. You just talk to people and listen. So when somebody says they need something like t-shirts for their kids' baseball team or golf apparel for their work or swag for a trade show, you just say, "Wow, that's interesting. Tell me more about that." And then, "Oh, by the way, I actually know a company that does that. Want me to send you their link?" That's it. They buy, you get a commission. You don't make the sale, you don't do follow-up, you don't fulfill the order, and you don't handle customer service. You just make the introduction. And for people who want support, the company already has everything built. Free, easy to understand training, a WhatsApp community, an online community, an app, a super organized website where you could look up any product, but you actually don't even have to. All you really need to do is share the link. And if you want to provide even better service, you can fill out the form for them so they don't have to remember it later. That way, you're helping them and creating income at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tirza. You couldn't have said it any better. You're basically pointing and directing somebody that already buys merchandise with their logo on, usually, or they're thinking about buying merchandise. Think of all the businesses and organizations out there that have their logo on, whether it be a pen, be a coffee mug, be a t-shirt, a sweatshirt. They're already buying this. A lot of them have budgets for this, and you're just saying, "Hey, I've got a source for this. I can put you in touch with LynnPro." You don't even have to know about the product. You just happen to see a product with a logo on it. And that's as much as you have to know about that product. Our sales team here has over 18 years. My sales manager has 18 years right out of high school or last year of high school until today, and hopefully many more years. It's been 18 years that has worked for us. So she's worked every department there possibly is. And she headed up the sales team now, or she heads the sales team up now. Her and her team are going to put all the prospects at ease. There's no high pressure sales here. We're just going to educate them on what we have, see what they would like to order or see what they inquired about. And we offer all that in a timely manner with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If the client, for some reason, isn't happy and you're sitting there thinking, "I'm referring people to this company, what happens if they're not happy?" Well, we have over 600 five-star reviews. Okay. We're rated at 5-star on Google. And if there's some instant that there is a possibility that somebody isn't happy, we have two ways of fixing that, Tirza. First way is we'll replace it if they want to replace the product. Or secondly, we'll give them all their money back. Because who wants to have buyer's remorse? We're looking for long-term business, right? So if you, Tirza, invited somebody, let's say Jane, and Jane bought through us, well, you're going to get 10% of the gross sale of whatever Jane buys, right? Jane buys $2,000. You get a check for $200, and you're going to have that check. Once Jane pays, that check will be issued to you or PayPal within 72 hours of payment from Jane. So it's lightning fast. You don't have to wait till the end of the month. So if you have these people ordering, you could be getting checks throughout the week all the time, right? So that's nice. And it's just nice to know that you're doing somebody a solid by putting them in with a company that is going to do a good job for them, right? We all want somebody that we can like, know, trust to do business with. And as we grow that account, let's say Jane ordered coffee mugs, but we found out that Jane does an event once a year where they order 500 t-shirts. And Jane also does some other stuff with her kids' sports, right? If Jane orders that stuff, your 10% now go up. So we guarantee that whatever Jane orders, and we're just using Jane here for an example, it could be anybody. We guarantee you that how often she orders, we pay you that 10% guaranteed for a whole year. If you're an active distributor or referral partner, I like to say referral partner because that's really what you are, a partner with LynnPro, a connector, and you're referring people to LynnPro on a steady basis, we'll extend that to another year of whatever Jane buys.
Wow.
So you're in good hands. And yeah, I'm excited. I mean, Terza she's a very nice soul. That's just putting it mildly. She's actually a lot better than I'm giving her credit for. And she's not going to steer you wrong because her reputation's on the line as well as ours. So we want to do a great job for you.
Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate that. And what I appreciate so much about what you do is, your heart is in it from beginning to end. And I just don't often find that in owners of large businesses.
Well, we wanted to create something. As you know, you and I are both involved in a coaching program through Casey.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to come up with something to where we could have ongoing leads come in for LynnPro, because my team would be better fit to actually close deals and to grow accounts than them having to go out there and find their own deals. Okay, we do that and they're great at that. However, they could earn more money themselves and be more productive and probably be a little happier, to be honest, if people are sending some, requests that they want to know more about products other than them reaching out all the time. So Casey and I, we come up with a program, which this is it. And Casey was very clear to get involved in this. He put together a video sometime back, and I think it's 10 or 11 things to avoid that he doesn't like when he's involved into an affiliate program, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I was like, whatever, just tell me what those are. We're building this from scratch. I mean, as long as I can afford financially to make the commitment, I'm down with it. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. That's not going to do anybody any good. And it wasn't even that. It was just give them the right tools, stay out of their way, train them, and make sure that you're paying them long enough. It's not just a one and done. So we started working things together. And I think out of all those, I think we're still working on one left that he's working on, but the rest of them are all checked off his list, right? And that's what I like about this, because we're not a come Johnny lately company. We've been doing this for over 20 years, right?
Right.
But we're like everybody else. Do you want to stay relevant in business? And how do you do that? You need more customers. Okay. You need to, there's only a few ways that you can grow your business. More customers, sell the ones you got more, or they buy more frequently, right? Well, we're not pressure sales. So I don't want to be pressured when I am looking. I want to be educated and I want to know what the deal is, but I don't want to be hounded every day of the week, right? About that deal. So we don't do that. So for instance, how this works is if you refer somebody to us, like you said, fill out the form, it'll get done faster, just to be honest with you. So if you filled that out for Jane, my office would call Jane as soon as that came in. If they got a hold of Jane, they go over the stuff that was filled out on the form. And if she's like, yeah, that sounds good, they'll wrap up an email either way of the conversation and send it to Jane, just so she has it. If they don't get a hold of Jane, they'll leave a message and they'll still send an email, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the second day they'll call again, but they won't leave a message because they don't want to sound like they're bothering, right? Jane's just not available by phone. The third day they'll do an email. If they don't hear anything back on the third day, what they do is then they email Jane once a week, the same way we do with all LynnPro customers and prospects. And we just put in there what's happening with LynnPro. And when she's ready, if Jane has a special event, we know it's coming up in like a month or two, we might actually reach out again and say, Jane, this is Jeff from LynnPro. Just wanted to see if you had any interest in what I left the message for. If you do, please respond to the email or feel free to call me back at, the number, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times when they're ready, they're ready. It's not on your time frame. We might talk to somebody and put them on a drip campaign of just like a weekly newsletter and update, and they might get back to us in 6 months. And that's fine because we're ready for them when they're ready. We're not trying to sell them something they don't want. We
Yeah,
want them
wow.
to feel, yeah,
Yeah.
we want them to feel that we're more like a good friend helping them along in the process.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about this, Jeff, is how well you're into the customer service and your whole team is. And the whole thing about keeping clear, straight communications to me is just amazing. And you don't often get that. A lot of businesses seem to miss that whole follow-up point and then just staying in touch with the customer every step of the way.
Well, and if you don't do that, Tirza, you're going to be finding a lot of times if you don't follow up properly, here's what happens. And that's not just in our business, it's in other businesses too.
Mhm.
You'll have laid the groundwork and you'll even done some of the fertilizing, like taking care of it to get it to grow, like, the prospect to think of you a little bit more and to nurture the hair. But you leave it alone and then somebody else comes along and they're harvesting everything that you planted and kind of process because you didn't continue to follow through properly. There's a lot of touching points to touch people. If you're always touching them the same way, like by a phone call, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Or by an email, ready when you are. You don't want to do that. You can do that. You can do whatever you want in business. But if you do that, what happens is you become an annoying pest instead of a welcome guest. So by our thing is that we want to give you so much value that when we work with you, that when we have so much reciprocity in that account because we've not tried to oversell you or sell you because we thought, oh, we can make a buck off you over here. Let's sell you this. And so when we reach out again, you're like, oh, I'm not ready yet, but hey, I like what you're doing. I'll keep you in mind, and it's nice hearing from you. And if you can get that in today's business, doing 98% of all our business is online. We 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 don't have a store where you could check out. We're not e-commerce like that, but we reach out through you. We hardly ever see anybody in person. We're in a warehouse tucked away in town without a sign on the building because we do so much. We're happy to have somebody come in, but we do so much on the internet. Well, that can be a double-edged sword because if you don't treat people extremely well, you'll get a lot of keyboard warriors out there, right? And
Yeah.
nobody wants that. So, for instance, when there is a problem with LynnPro, because if you're in business for as many years as we've been in business, there's going to be an issue. They didn't like the way the color looked on the shirt, or the shirt shrunk up, or whatever the case may be. It could be the shirt might have been dyed twice because during COVID, manufacturers were dyeing the shirts again because they're running low on stock because they didn't have and I know I'm going in the weeds here and I'll get out of it. They didn't have enough raw materials coming in and they had certain items that, let's say it was a pink shirt and now they need black shirts, they'll just dye it. Well, they don't tell you that. And the
Oh,
shirt looks normal, but there's going to be a bleeding process now. And now you could have some angry people because and you're like, I've always used Gildan shirts and I've never had a problem with them, right? And nobody wants to come to the table saying what it is. Well, finally, people started coming to the table saying what it was. So you'd have to order different ink, right? But the point being is, how well do you take care of that person when it happens? Us is we worked hard to get that client. If anybody thinks getting clients is easy all day, maybe it is if you have a low ticket item and you're checking them through and it's a widget or it's a cheap little coffee cup that it doesn't matter. But when you're dealing with people that run organizations, nonprofits, and schools, they've got their reputation on the line. So my first thing is if something comes back, if there's an issue, if a box comes back that says LynnPro on it, the factory almost shuts down.
wow.
It just we was, I mean, we won't shut right on the spot, but when they get to a stopping point before they put more ink on or they're getting ready to go to break, everybody gathers around like it's like, oh my God, what do we have here? We pull it out of the box, we get with the salesperson, we go instantly go to a meeting. What can be done here that we can make sure that what is the customer? Like I'm the most critical, me and my daughter, we're the most critical. I'll just look at something and be like, it's off on that head. I don't like the way that E looks. It's closing in. And be like, no, they like that. And I'm like, you need to thin the E out because when it's being embroidered, some fonts fatten up, you know what I'm saying? And then they bunch up and you start, and I'm like, I wouldn't wear that hat. I want you to resend it out. Well, we've already done 50. Stop it. Just put them aside. I want you to reach out to the digitizer. I want you to tell them the exact problem that we're having. And my wife's like, what do you want to do? I said, we're reordering. First, I want to get it back from the digitizer to see a new sew out. Once I see the sew out and I like that, because we sew out everything here. Once I see that, I'm like, yeah, that's where I want it to be. And we'll just reorder those 50 hats. And we just, where do they go? Salvation Army or the Red Dumpster. That's where they go because I'm not happy with that product. And it might not have been turned down by the customer, but what if they really weren't happy? I wasn't happy with it. And I wouldn't want to spend my money with the company that didn't catch stuff. And so we're really good at stuff like that. Are we perfect? No. But we're very, very good dealing with customers on the upside and even if there's a hiccup.
Yes. Yes. And the thing to know for everyone watching this is the same level of careful, meticulous detail has been put into creating this affiliate program. That's why we have Casey Everhart guiding us through this entire process. He is just truly amazing. And what you've been building with Casey and with all of us,
Yeah.
Jeff, is just nothing short of just incredible.
Well,
So,
it's nice to work with you uh, in other aspects. I mean, we don't work together to where we do business together, but we work together where we share ideas and we help each other out in different scenarios. Like if I come across a tool or something that might work for you or vice versa. And I love that about this organization and Casey. For those of you who don't know Casey, you should get to know Casey. He does a free networking tips to where Terza can mail that out or put that in there to where he does a 2-day event at no charge just to teach you some super simple stuff because people overcomplicate stuff all the time. If you ever, I always tell my wife, if you want something slowed down, put me in charge because I'll look at it. You know, if you want something done right, give it to my wife and her team. My company, by the way, just so you know, Tirza, is 90% women and
oh,
they do a rock star job. I've got a couple guys over there, a few guys, and then I'm in another building. But I always say this, and you know, if you want to talk about it, give it to me and a couple of the other guys, and we'll talk about it. We'll write plans up for it. My wife will look at the plan. She'll make a couple notes, her and her team, and Liz, and they'll have that done before we even finished up the writing it up on my team. So I love that about it because my wife comes from the restaurant business. We used to own pizzerias, and she would run the kitchen, and she ran in great payroll, and she kept people for years and years and years. And she had some of the same people in the restaurant business for 17, 18 years because she works right alongside with them. So she runs the shop like she runs her pizza business. When people order pizza or whatever we carried at the time, chicken, when they order it, Tirza, they're not hungry in 30 minutes. They're hungry when they ordered it, right?
that's right.
So my wife runs the shop like that. She goes, she's a lot like we were talking earlier, how you woke up last night, you were excited, and you're talking to Chat GPT. Well, that's how my wife is with scheduling. She runs scenarios through her mind. Okay, if those hats don't come in, but I know I've got windbreakers over here and over on this press has long sleeves. But if that doesn't come in the right way, I'm going to do this and this job here. I'll go ahead and knock this out, even though it came in later or it's got a longer date, but it's a small one. I'll get off my plate. So I can, it's just nice to see that in the works, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of
I love
times,
that.
yeah. So anyway, we're excited to work with you. You're going to work with a great team. Check out Tirza's link because you're gonna get associated with Tirza here for LynnPro Connect. And I only work through referral partners such as Tirza for this program. So she'll drop her link, and you guys, you know, once you are associated with that, then we'll go ahead and work with you. If you're not, we won't. We'll redirect you to Tirza because loyalty is a big thing in our business, right?
Yeah.
And so any other questions that you have, feel free to share whatever you want, Tirza. We're going to let you talk.
Actually, I just want to say there's a couple of things. So what do people worry about before they start, and why is that usually wrong?
I think people, a lot of times, they're just scared to make a change because what if I order something and it's not as good as what I heard, or, I know the guy down the street. And all I can say is that when you say you have nothing to lose, that's not quite true because you have time and energy to lose no matter what you're doing, right? I
Yes.
would say read our reviews. Google LynnPro, LynnPro. Just Google the word LynnPro and read the reviews. Do a small order if you're not sure with Liz. You can do tiny orders and see how the process works for you. Or if you're like the people who just like to jump into the pool in the deep end, feel free to do that. It is backed by an ironclad guarantee. And the reason I do that guarantee is I don't do it for the clients and I don't do it for the referral partners. Even though it seems like I do that, I do it for my team. So we're the best at what we possibly can do, right? So I want to make sure. I learned this from a guy that owned the largest screen printing manufacturing company in the world. Still to this day, it's from M&R. He doesn't own it anymore. He was a founder, and then he's since retired. His name is Rich Hoffman, and he told me, he says, you need to do a guarantee. And I was like, Rich, I work with internet people. He goes, you still need to do a guarantee. He goes, I do. And I was like, yeah, but you sell equipment. If they're not happy, you'll take it back and resell it, even if it's used. I said, if I do shirts for one school in Colorado and I do another and they don't like it, it's not like I can sell the shirts to somebody in Texas. And he goes, no, you need to do it for you. And I was like, oh, I don't know, Rich. That seems very risky, right? I was thinking, oh, we'd get all this to come back. And I can tell you on millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, Tirza, I've had return last year less than $2,800.
Wow.
And that's just what it is. And
Wow.
you know what? That $2,800 was a guy returned some hooded sweatshirts that bled, right? I said, there's no way these are bleeding. I've used everything, right? He goes, they're bleeding. He sent pictures. I couldn't really tell, right? I said,
Yeah.
send them back. And he goes, I want you to reprint them. I said, I'm going to give you your money back. I said, I got to figure this out. I said, I can't reprint some. If I reprint these, what if I had the same problem?
Yeah.
So I said, I just want to give you your money back. And I think we even let him keep some of the sweatshirts or whatever. So he sent them back. Well, then we sent it out to see why this wasn't. I mean, this is bread and butter stuff every day, Tirza.
Mhm.
And I'm like, they were dyed again. They were dyed again. We
No.
had to use a special blocker if we were going to do that. My wife found an ink online. We started using that ink and we've never had a problem. And that guy gave me a 4-star review. And I was like, what? He gave me a 4-star because I handled the situation properly. I gave him his money back. And to be honest with you, it taught me a big lesson like, hey, I need feedback. If there's something wrong, don't keep it to yourself. I mean, I have some people, if they don't send these back, they'll be like, a thread there's an extra thread. Well, you might have to trim it. I mean, it's t-shirts and stuff. But overall, it's how you handle situations when they come up. That's when you want to know if you deal with a good company, because if you deal with anybody long enough, you're going to have a situation, one or two here and there. You can't deal with people for 20 years and not, you can't have a friend 20 years and not have a disagreement,
Right. Yes, that's true. It's true.
right?
It's the nature of
Yeah.
friends and human beings.
Yeah.
So, before I wrap up, Jeff, can I ask you one more question?
Absolutely.
How about the name of your company?
LynnPro, LynnPro
Okay.
.com.
Yep.
You can go there, but you're going to want to go through Tears's link. Otherwise, we have to backtrack this. Okay. You're not going to get a better deal working with us directly. We don't
Mhm.
operate. You're going to get the same deal working with Tirza, except you're going to get Tirza that's going to be all nice and happy and treat you like gold. And you're going to get the same service at LynnPro that you would anyway. But if Tirsa is going to take the time to do training videos or interview somebody, please use her because she's such just a nice lady. That's just, you get to know her, you're going to say, wow, she's just a really caring person. And that's rare nowadays.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I
You bet.
really appreciate that. So, I just, on that note, actually, I prepared something to hold up on screen because I want people to know just how easy this is.
Yeah.
So, I have here a QR code. that shows, and if I need to do it this way so the camera gets it just
I'm going to
right.
see if it works while I'm doing it, while you're doing it.
Okay.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
How low tech can you get? That's all you need. I just printed it out on a
That
piece
is
of
it.
paper.
That'll instantly come to us. And during business hours, we work from 8 to 5 during business hours. You'll get a call pretty quick. Might not be immediately, might take, a little bit of time, like a few minutes, but you will get a response from us that fast.
A few minutes. There's a lot of businesses that don't get back to you within days, and you get
Oh,
back in a few minutes. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
anyway, Tears, it was a pleasure doing this
thank
with
you.
you. I normally don't do things like this, and I tend to get a little down rabbit holes, but I really enjoy this, and I really enjoy working with you. So anything that I can do, feel free to reach out, and anybody that wants to work with us, scan the code, and we'll look forward to working with you. Thank you again.